everybody is staying warm because it is going down.
We may have agreed, but through those conversations,
it is going down. I hope everybody's staying warm because we have winter storms.
Today's result with a peace agreement earlier
all
today.
Over.
He came all the way from California.
America. So yeah, what we about to do right now is we about to react to Elon Musk and the things that he is saying about humanity and AI and the development of AI and what's to come in the future. So we got to react to this, chat. I talked about it on my live earlier, but now we got to react to the actual video. Yeah, we got to react to the actual video. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I'm your host, the one only Stock Sniper. If you have just joined, please hit that like button. Please hit the like button so we can get more people in the chat because we really need to watch this. You know, we really need to watch this because this AI, robots, humanoids, and if you don't know what humanoids are basically humans that are really robots. Like me right now, I'm sitting here and you think I'm a person. Well, soon and very soon, it will be human. You think a person is a human, but it's a robot like Terminator. And Elon Musk is about to get ready to tell us right now, you know, how far we're away from actually seeing this. And they already have the capabilities of doing it, but they just need AI and companies like NVIDIA and all the et cetera, to develop these chips so they can go and put this in motion. They say it's going to be millions and millions of these. No, I think he said billions. We're going to watch this, though, but I think he said billions of humanoids. Humanoids are robots that look like humans that can do anything you could think of. Can sit right here and do a live stream like what I'm doing. Can cook. Can be a teacher. Can build a house. Anything you could think of. These robots, humanoids, they're going to be able to, you know, do anything you want it to do. That's what's going on. And it's going to change the world as we know it. And guess what else he said? It's coming sooner than what we think. Also, he said that they're working on something to reverse age. So let's go and watch Elon Musk tell us what's going on. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I'm your host, the one only Stock Sniper. I hope you are somewhere warm. Sit back and just chill. You know, that's the thing we need to do this weekend. Watch some football. Watch UFC. If you don't know, UFC is free on Paramount Plus. All you have to do is just pay a monthly subscription. I think it's $12 or $13, and you get to watch all the UFC events for free. So if you're a UFC fan and you've been up under a rock somewhere, guess what? No more pay-per-views starting tomorrow. So, you know, they say UFC 300, UFC 350, UFC, whatever the number is. And usually you got to pay for it on pay-per-view. Well, all that has been eliminated. As long as you have a subscription, a monthly subscription of Paramount Plus, you'll be able to watch the UFC for free. So we got the UFC coming on tomorrow. And guess what, chat? I will be reacting to the UFC tomorrow night. I will be reacting to the UFC tomorrow night. Then we got 2 games this weekend. Football season. We got the AFC Championship and the NFC Championship. It's going down this weekend, guys. So while there is a winter storm all over America, make sure you and your family is safe and sit back and watch TV. Sit back and watch Stock Sniper TV. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all for joining me. We're fixing to watch Elon Musk explain all this here in full detail. This is my reaction to what Elon Musk said. Here we go, chat. Thank y'all for joining. Let's go.
Appointed to be here to see all of you. So thank you, Elon.
You're most welcome. I heard about the formation of the Peace Summit, and I was like, is that PIEC? Little piece of Greenland, a little piece of Venezuela.
we got one.
All we want is peace.
Okay, I'm going to, as I said, I'm a pretty proud CEO of BlackRock since we went public. The compounding return of BlackRock to our shareholders was 21%. Since Elon took Tesla public, his compounded return is 43%. This is just another advertisement for everybody, especially for Europeans. This is why more citizens should be investing with growth, investing with their countries. Imagine if a lot of pension funds invested with Elon when Tesla went public, and how much return would all the pension funds that invested side by side with Elon and the growth. So a spectacular return. There's very few companies. Well, I don't think there's any other company as large as Tesla today that has that compounded return. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
It's a good measurement.
Well, we have an incredible team at Tesla, and that's the reason.
So I want to get into the dirt, the meaningful component about technology, the possibilities. I want to talk about AI and robotics, energy, space, and the progress ultimately coming down to engineering discipline, scale, execution. And few people, if not anyone, has the experience and the fortitude to confront these issues head on. Not just the ideas, but the execution across so many different technologies, Elon. And that's why I thought it was important for us to have this dialogue here in Davos. So you're presently building on AI, on robotics, on space, on energy, all at the same time.
God bless you too, Daniel.
When you look across those efforts, what do they have in common from an engineering standpoint?
Well, they're all very difficult technology challenges, but the overall goal of my companies is to maximize the future of civilization, like basically maximize the probability that civilization has a great future. And to expand consciousness beyond Earth. So if you take SpaceX, for example, that SpaceX is about advancing rocket technology to the point where we can extend life and consciousness beyond Earth to the moon, to Mars, eventually to other star systems. And I think we should always view consciousness, life as we know it, as precarious and delicate. Because to the best of our knowledge, we don't know of life anywhere else. I'm often asked, are there aliens among us? And I'll say that I am one, but
Or you're from the future.
They don't believe me.
Okay.
But I think if anyone would know if there are aliens among us, it would be me.
Y'all heard what Elon Musk just said? Elon Musk said he is an alien, but nobody don't believe him. If there's any alien amongst us, he says it's him. And
we have 9,000 satellites up there, and not once have we had to maneuver around an alien spaceship. So I'm like, I don't know. Bottom line is, I think we need to assume that life and consciousness is extremely rare, and it might only be us. And if that's the case, then we need to do everything possible to ensure that the light of consciousness is not extinguished, because we're effectively, the way I view it is, the image in my mind is of a tiny candle in a vast darkness, a tiny candle of consciousness that could easily go out. And that's why it's important to make life multiplanetary, such that if there is a natural disaster or a man-made disaster on Earth, that consciousness continues. That's the purpose of SpaceX. Tesla is obviously about sustainable technology, and also at this point we've sort of added to our mission sustainable abundance. So with robotics and AI, this is really the path to abundance for all. If you say, people often talk about solving global poverty, or essentially how do we give everyone a very high standard of living. I think the only way to do this is AI and robotics, which doesn't mean that it is without its issues. I mean, we need to be very careful with AI. We need to be very careful with robotics. We don't want to find ourselves in a James Cameron movie, Terminator. He's got great movies, love his movies, but we don't want to be in Terminator, obviously. But if you have ubiquitous AI that is essentially free or close to it, and ubiquitous robotics, then you will have an explosion in the global economy, an expansion in the global economy that is truly beyond all precedent.
Elon, can that expansion be broad?
Yes.
Or is it narrow? And how can that be created? How can it broaden the global economy?
Yeah, I mean, the way to think of it is that if you have a large number of humanoid robots, the economic output is the average productivity per robot times the number of robots.
Right.
And actually, my prediction is in the benign scenario of the future that we will actually make so many robots and AI that they will actually saturate all human needs. Meaning you won't be able to even think of something to ask the robot for at a certain point. Like there will be such an abundance of goods and services because my prediction is that there'll be more robots than people. So,
but how do you then have human purpose in that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, nothing's perfect, But,
y'all heard him? He said his prediction is there will be more robots than people, humanoids.
But it is a necessary. Like you can't have both. You can't have work that has to be done and amazing abundance for all. Because if it's work that has to be done, then you and only some people can do it, then you can't have abundance.
Then
for
it's
all.
narrow.
It's narrow, yeah. Exactly. So, but if you have billions of humanoid robots, and I think there will be, I think everyone on Earth is going to have one and going to want one. Because who wouldn't want a robot to, assuming it's very safe, watch over your kids, take care of your pet. If you have elderly parents, a lot of friends of mine said they have elderly parents, and it's very difficult to take care of them.
Expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive, and there just aren't enough people to take care of there aren't enough young people to take care of the old people.
Right.
So if you had a robot that could take care of and protect an elderly parent, I think that would be great. That would be an amazing thing to have. I think we will have those things. So, overall, I'm very optimistic about the future. I think we're headed for a future of amazing abundance, which is very cool. And definitely, we are in the most interesting time in history. I think there's a more interesting time in history. So.
Can you and I reverse aging in this new history, or are we going to see it?
I haven't put much time into the aging stuff. I do think it is a very solvable problem. Like you can. I think when we figure out what causes aging, I think we'll find it's incredibly obvious. It's not a subtle thing. The reason I say it's not a subtle thing is because all the cells in your body, with some pretty much age at the same rate. I've never seen someone with with an old left arm and a young right arm ever in my life. So why is that? That means that there must be a clock, a synchronizing clock,
Right.
that is synchronizing across 35 trillion cells in your body. There is some benefit to death, by the way. It's like there's a reason why we don't actually have a longer lifespan, because if people do live forever for a very long time, I think there's some risk of an ossification of society, of things just getting kind of locked in place, it just may become stultifying, just not lack vibrancy. But that said, do I think we'll figure out ways to extend life and maybe even reverse aging? I think that's highly likely.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
In the future that you talk about, the AI models, autonomous machines, rockets, depends on massive increases in compute, massive increases in energy, expensive energy, manufacturing scale. What are the bottlenecks to get there? And that, once again, with all that expenditures, again, how can we make sure that it's broad and not narrow?
I just think the natural thing is it's going to be very broad, because AI companies will seek as many customers as they possibly can, and the cost of AI is already very low, and it's plummeting every year. I mean, the cost of AI is almost meaningfully changing on a month-to-month basis.
There's open models now everywhere. Yeah.
Yes, there's open models, and the open models only lag. They're maybe a year behind,
right,
the sort of closed models. So I think the AI companies will seek as many customers as possible, which means they'll provide AI to the world.
But the cost of getting to there, the compute, the chips, the fab, the powering. That, to me, what are the those are huge.
The limiting factor. Yeah, I think the limiting factor for AI deployment is fundamentally electrical power.
It's just right. It's energy.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing the rate of AI chip production increase exponentially, but the rate of electricity being brought online is
3%, 4% a year, max.
Yeah. It's clear that we're very soon, maybe even later this year, we'll be producing more chips than we can turn on. Except for China. China's growth in electricity is tremendous.
They're building 100 gigawatts of nuclear as we speak.
Actually, solar is the biggest thing in China. So I believe China's production capacity on solar is 1,500 gigawatts a year, and they're deploying over 1,000 gigawatts a year of solar. Now, for continuous solar load, you divide that by roughly, 4 or 5. Call it that's around 250 gigawatts of steady state power paired with batteries. And that's a very big number. That's half of the average power usage in the U.S.
Right.
So U.S. power usage on average is 500 gigawatts. China, just in solar, in solar that can provide steady state power and batteries, can do half of the U.S. electricity output per year just with solar. Solar is by far the biggest source of energy. And actually, when you look beyond, or even on Earth, but certainly beyond Earth, the sun rounds up to 100% of all energy. This is an important thing to consider. So the sun is 99.8% of the mass of the solar system. Jupiter is about 0.1%, and everything else is miscellaneous. Now, even if you were to burn Jupiter in a thermonuclear reactor, the amount of energy produced by the sun would still round up to 100%, because Jupiter is only 0.1%. If you teleported 3 more Jupiters into our solar system, and burnt 3 more Jupiters and everything else in the solar system, the sun's energy would still round up to 100%. So it's really all about the sun. And that's why one of the things we'll be doing with SpaceX within a few years is launching solar-powered AI satellites.
Right.
Because the space is really the source of immense power, and then you don't need to take up any room on Earth. There's so much room in space, and you can scale to enormous. I mean, you can scale to, I think, ultimately hundreds of terawatts a year.
You and I have had these conversations before, but why don't you tell the audience what would it take for the United States, and what type of geography would it take to have that solar field to electrify the United States? And then let me ask a question: why aren't we doing it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess a rough way to think about it is 100 miles by 100 miles, or call it 160 kilometers by 160 kilometers of solar is enough to power the entire United States. So the 100 mile by 100 mile area is, I mean, you could take basically a small corner of Utah, Nevada, New Mexico. Obviously, you wouldn't want it all in one place, but it is a very small percentage of the area of the U.S. to generate all of the electricity that the U.S. uses. And the same is true, actually. I mean, for Europe, you could take relatively unpopulated areas of, say, Spain and Sicily, and generate all of the electricity power that Europe needs.
So why don't you think that there's a movement towards that here and in the United States?
Well, there is,
as it is in China.
Well, unfortunately, in the U.S., the tariff barriers for solar are extremely high, and that makes the economics of deploying solar so artificially high, because China makes almost all the solar,
What would it take for Europe or the U.S. to build it commercially, if it's that scale?
Yeah, I think. Well, I can tell you what we're going to do, SpaceX and Tesla is we're building up large-scale solar.
Right.
So the SpaceX and Tesla teams both separately are working to build to 100 gigawatts a year of solar power in the U.S. of manufactured solar power, and that'll probably take us, I don't know, about 3 years or something. But these are pretty big numbers. Mm-hmm. I'd encourage others to do the same. We obviously don't control the U.S. Tariff policy, mm-hmm. But for other countries, I would recommend that China makes solar cells that are incredibly low cost, and I think it would be worth doing large-scale solar.
So,
wow. So America,
you're going to be having a couple of big
has to go through China
and what it can do. I mean, when I went to the
those
factory,
big solar powers and scale.
Yeah.
That's why I was telling y'all, man. China,
how quickly,
pretty much
you
more
talked about
advanced
the
than
billions
America,
of robots,
guys.
but how quickly can they be deployed in a manufacturing setting? How quickly can they be utilized and be functional and create that abundance that you talked about?
Well, humanoid robotics will advance very quickly. I think we do have some of the Tesla Optimus robots doing simple tasks in the factory. Except probably later this year.
Those humanoid robots.
By the end of this year, I think they'll be doing more complex tasks, but still deployed in an industrial environment. And probably sometime next year, I'd say that by the end of next year, I think would be selling humanoid robots to the public.
Bro,
That's when we are confident that it's very higher life.
did y'all hear that, Chad? He said by the end of next year, they're going to start selling humanoid robots that's robots that look like you and I. Y'all heard that, right? By the end of next year. I said first I said 20 years. Then I said 5 years. But Elon Musk says by the end of next year, they're going to start selling humanoid robots. That's why I've been saying all along, chat. I've been saying this for a while. The technology for these robots, humanoids, and robots that can clean your house, teach your kids, can be the teacher, can build a house, etc., etc., etc. The technology and AI is already there. Let me rewind that. Because he talked kind of funny. You know, it's hard to kind of understand Elon Musk. But I think he is an alien, Chad. I really believe him. He said he's an alien, and I'm starting to believe him. And he said that earlier. He said he is an alien, but nobody want to believe him. I believe him now.
In a manufacturing setting, how quickly can they be utilized and be functional and be create that abundance that you talked about?
Well, humanoid robotics will advance very quickly. I think we do have some of the Tesla Optimus robots doing simple tasks in the factory. We expect probably later this year. By the end of this year, I think they'll be doing more complex tasks, but still deployed in an industrial environment. And probably sometime next year, I'd say that by the end of next year, I think would be selling humanoid robots to the public. That's when we are confident that humanoid robotics will advance very quickly. I think we do have some.
Nero, you heard what he just said? He already showed us robots last year. He had robots actually acting like a bartender, serving people drinks, serving people food. That was over a year ago. Now he's saying that the humanoid robots, they already have them they already got humanoid robots. They already got them. They got them right now in factories doing small tasks. And he said by the end of next year, remember, Chad, if you was on the live, I said 20 years. But then after I heard a little bit of this, I said 5. But Elon Musk just clarified it. Those humanoid robots are already here. They're doing test runs with them in the factory right now. And he said by the end of next year, they're going to start selling them. Wow.
The Tesla Optimus robots doing simple tasks in the factory. We expect probably later this year. By the end of this year, I think they'll be doing more complex tasks, but still deployed in an industrial environment. And probably sometime next year, I'd say that by the end of next year, I think would be selling humanoid robots.
Boom! There you go. By the end of next year, they're going to be selling humanoid robots. Nero, you're not listening. Come on now. Come on. You're not listening what the man just said. By the end of next year, they're going to be selling them. You're not listening. Less typing and more listening. Appreciate y'all, chat, for coming over here rocking with me. Breaking news. By the end of next year, SpaceX, Tesla, is going to start selling humanoid robots. What are humanoid robots? They are robots that look like humans. Wow, breaking news, chat.
To the public. That's when we are confident that it's very high reliability, very high safety, and the range of functionality is also very high. You can basically ask it to do anything you'd like.
You're already seeing that in Tesla cars, the software changes that you're doing. And what is it, every quarter now, a software change that upgrades the ability of the robot within the car?
Yes, the Tesla Full Self-Driving software, we update it sometimes once a week. Recently, some of the insurance companies have said that it is actually so safe, when Tesla Full Self-Driving is so safe that they're offering customers half-price insurance if they use Tesla Full Self-Driving in their car.
And that can be monitored by the insurance company? Is that part of the agreement?
Yeah. I think self-driving cars is essentially a solved problem at this point.
Right.
And Tesla's role.
Mohammed, what will humanoid robots do? Well, they will cook. They will be able, to make a long story short, humanoid robots will be able to do anything you want it to do. Anything. Anything. Whatever you can think of, that's what humanoid robots will be able to do.
Rolled out sort of robotaxi service in a few cities, and
right.
will be very, very widespread by the end of this year within the U.S. And then we hope to get supervised full self-driving approval in Europe, hopefully next month.
Really that quickly?
Yeah, and then.
Yep, anything. Anything you wanted to do. Babysit, be a teacher, cook, clean, build you a house, whatever you can think of. Bartender, whatever you can think of, that's what this humanoid robot, yeah, that's what they'll be able to do. Anything you can think of.
Maybe a similar timing for China, hopefully.
I want to move to space because historically space is very capital intensive. It's
very
been done by governments. Obviously, SpaceX changed the whole model. But we've seen it slow to scale, and now I'm starting to see it ramping up in what you're doing and other things. Talk to us about the automation and AI, how it's changing the economics in building and preparing for us in operating in space.
Sure. Well, the key breakthrough the major breakthrough that SpaceX is hoping to achieve this year is full reusability. So no one has ever achieved full reusability of a rocket, which is very important for the cost of access to space. We've achieved partial reusability with Falcon 9 by landing the boost stage. We've now landed the boost stage over 500 times. But we have to throw away the upper stage. The upper stage sort of burns up on re-entry for Falcon 9. So, and the cost of that is equivalent to a small to medium-sized jet. So, but with Starship, which is a giant rocket, it's the largest flying machine ever made.
That's the rocket that you're using for the idea of going to Mars, right?
Yeah, Mars and the Moon, as well as for high-volume satellite stuff. So, Starship. Hopefully this year we should prove full reusability for Starship, which will be a profound invention because the cost of access to space will drop by a factor of 100 when you achieve full reusability.
Right.
It's the same sort of economic difference that you would expect that, between, say, a reusable aircraft and a non-reusable aircraft. Like if you have to throw your aircraft away after every flight, that would be a very expensive flight. But if you only have to refuel, then it's the cost of the fuel. And so that's really the fundamental breakthrough that gets the cost of access to space, we think, below the cost of freight on aircraft. So, under $100 a pound type of thing easily.
Wow.
So it makes putting large satellites into space very low, very cheap. And then when you have solar in space, you get 5 times more effectiveness, maybe even more than that, than solar on the ground, because it's always sunny.
It's cold. And
It's always sunny, so you don't have a day-night cycle or seasonality or weather, and you get about 30% more power in space because you don't have atmospheric attenuation of the power.
Right.
The net effect is solar is 5 times more. Any given solar panel will do 5 times more energy in space than on the ground.
Is there any capacity in doing that and then taking that power and bringing it back to Earth? Is there any way of doing that, or you're just taking that power and utilizing it for the needs, like building AI data centers in space?
I think the case, it's a no-brainer for building solar-powered AI data centers in space, because as you mentioned, it's also very cold in space. If you're in the shadow, then it's very cold in space, just 3 degrees Kelvin. So you just have solar panels facing the sun, and then a radiator that's pointed away from the sun, so it has no sun incidence, and then it's just cooling. It's a very efficient cooling system. So net effect is that the lowest cost place to put AI will be space, and that'll be true within 2 years. Maybe three at the latest.
Wow. So looking 10 or 20 years out, how would you describe success with AI or space technology, and where do you see it? Are you more certain what's going to happen in the next 3 years or 5 or 10?
I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years, but the rate at which AI is progressing, I think we might have AI that is smarter than any human by the end of this year.
Whoa!
And I would say no later than next year.
Wow.
And then probably by 2030 or 2031, call it 5 years from now, AI will be smarter than all of humanity collectively.
There you go, Chad. By the end of this year, the AI robot is going to be smarter than a human. By the end of 2030, which is the 5 years that I said earlier, those AI robots and AI are going to be smarter than all of us put together. Let me rewind that.
Are you more certain what's going to happen the next?
Well, thank y'all, chat, for rocking with me. We got 50 people in the building. Appreciate y'all for coming through and rocking with me. At this time, do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel and hit the like button for the algorithms. But see, one thing about Elon Musk, chat, is he talks so funny. He say he a robot. He say he's a alien. And I'm starting to believe him now. He talks so funny, you got to really pay attention to what he's saying. So, appreciate y'all for joining me, chat. We got 63 people in the building. All you got to do is double tap the screen. This is really good information that we are hearing right now at this time. By the end of next year, if you're just not joining, they're going to start selling humanoid robots. What is humanoid robot, Stock Sniper? Those are robots that look like humans, aka Terminator. And these robots will be able to do anything we want them to do. For instance, if Stock Sniper buys a robot, I can have, instead of me sitting here doing this, my robot can do this. And you'll think it's me, and it's really my robot that look exactly like me. Man, last year, if you was on the stream about a year and a half ago, I actually was talking about this. I was talking about robo-taxi, and I was talking about regular robots. Like Elon Musk showed us robo-taxi, and he showed us the robots. But at that time, all the robots could do was like serve food, serve drinks. You know, and that was like almost a year and a half ago. But a year and a half then passed, and guess what? Those robots are advanced. They've been working on this whole time. They're about to roll out robo-taxi at the end of this year. So wow, amazing stuff, guys. Amazing stuff.
3 years or 5 or 10?
I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years, but the rate at which AI is progressing, I think we might have AI that is smarter than any human by the end of this year, and I would say no later than next year.
Wow.
And then probably by 2030 or 2031, call it 5 years from now, AI will be smarter than all of humanity collectively.
We only have a number of minutes left, but I want to humanize you for a second. So there's no speculation that you're
about peace.
Right. I want to. I mean, I would frame this question by: you are the most successful entrepreneur, industrialist in the 21st century, maybe beyond. I want to really get this. You know, what inspired you? Who's inspired you? What was the foundation of your curiosity? And importantly, was there an aha moment, an epiphany at any time in your life and career?
Well, I mean, as a kid, I read a lot of science fiction, sci-fi, fantasy books.
Yeah, we talked about
and comic books, and I always liked technology. I didn't expect to be where I am today. This seems incredibly implausible. But yeah, I was inspired by reading about books about the future, about science fiction, and I guess I want to make science fiction not fiction forever. At some point, turn science fiction to science fact, and you know, we want to have like Starfleet and Star Trek, really, for real, like where we actually have giant spaceships traveling through space, going to other planets, traveling to other star systems.
I'm just interested if I could be beamed up to go back to New York. I'd like to just be beamed back to New York instead of flying. I want to really get this, or 5 or 10.
I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years, but the rate at which AI is progressing, I think we might have AI that is smarter than any human by the end of this year, and I would say no later than next year.
Wow.
3 at the latest.
Wow. So looking 10 or 20 years out, how would you describe success with AI or space technology?
And then...
hold on, chat. I'm trying to do something right now. Give me a second. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, but I'm trying to do something right now. So here we go, chat. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button for the algorithm.
A radiator that's pointed away from the sun, so it has no sun incidence, and then it's just cooling. It's a very efficient cooling system. So net effect is that the lowest cost place to put AI will be space, and that'll be true within 2 years, maybe 3 at the latest.
Wow. So looking 10 or 20 years out, how would you describe success with AI or space technology, and where do you see it? Are you more certain what's going to happen in the next 3 years or 5 or 10?
I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years, but the rate at which AI is progressing, I think we might have AI that is smarter than any human by the end of this year, and I would say no later than next year.
Wow.
And then probably by 2030 or 2031, call it 5 years from now, AI will be smarter than all of humanity collectively.
We only have a number of minutes left, but I want to humanize you for a second. So there's no speculation that you're
about peace.
Right. I want to. I mean, I would frame this question by: you are the most successful entrepreneur, industrialist in the 21st century, maybe beyond. I want to really get this. What inspired you? Who inspired you? What was the foundation of your curiosity? And importantly, was there an aha moment, an epiphany at any time in your life and career?
Well, I mean, as a kid, I read a lot of science fiction, sci-fi, fantasy books.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And comic books, and I always liked technology. I didn't expect to be where I am today. This seems incredibly implausible. But yeah, I was inspired by reading about books about the future, about science fiction, and I guess I want to make science fiction not fiction forever. At some point, turn science fiction to science fact. We want to have like Starfleet and Star Trek, really, for real, like where we actually have giant spaceships traveling through space, going to other planets, traveling to other star systems.
I'm just interested if I could be beamed up to go back to New York. I'd like to just be beamed back to New York instead of flying.
Yeah.
Talking about Star Trek.
No, I guess my essential, what I would call the philosophy of curiosity. I'd like to understand the meaning of life. Is the standard model of physics correct regarding the beginning of life, beginning of existence, and the end of the universe? What questions do we not know to ask that we should ask? And AI will help us with these things. So I'm just trying to understand how do we get here? What's going on? What's real? Are there aliens? Maybe there are. And if we've got spaceships that are traveling to other star systems, we may encounter aliens, or we may find many long dead alien civilizations. But I just want to know what's going on. I'm curious about the universe, and that's my philosophy.
Do you see yourself ever going to Mars in your lifetime?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like
That's a long commitment.
I've been asked.
Isn't that 3 years each way?
It's 6 months.
6 months. That's all it is.
Yeah, 6 months, but the planets only align every 2 years.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've been asked a few times, like, do I want to, die on Mars? And I'm like, yes, but just not on impact.
That's a good answer. Anyway, we're out of time. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this. I mean, there's so many myths around Elon Musk. I could tell you he's a great friend, and I constantly learn so much from him. And I'm totally inspired by what he has done. I've been inspired who he is, and I'm totally inspired by his vision of the future. And I don't think it's such a bad future, and I agree with his optimism. So, Elon, thank you. Any last words?
Well, I think my last words would be, I would encourage everyone to be optimistic and excited about the future.
Good.
And generally, I think for quality of life, it is actually better to err on the side of being an optimist and wrong rather than a pessimist and right.
On that note.
Wow, Chad, that was real interesting, wasn't it? So now we're going to move over here. If you're just now joining, I'm your host, the one on the Stock Sniper. And now we're going to go over here and we're going to hear NVIDIA CEO speak about AI and the global economy. And that's what we're about to look at right now. So let me go over here and switch it. All right, we done switched it. Appreciate y'all for joining me, chat. If you have not yet, please hit the like button. Everybody, we got 16 likes. Everybody that has hit the like button, appreciate you for hitting that like button. Thank y'all, everybody, for rocking with me. We got 32 people in the building. Thank y'all for rocking with me. I hope that you're in the best spirits. Hope you're in the best of health. Hope you're staying warm. A lot of us, are going through this winter storm. Hope you are, just kick back. I'm going to try to put out some information. If you already know it, share the video. A lot of people don't know about this. Make sure you are paying attention. Hope people paid attention to what Elon Musk said. Because life as we know it and the world as we know it is about to change real fast. Real fast. So by the end of he said it. By the end of next year, they're going to start selling those humanoid robots. So that's why, guys, we seeing all this stuff on the internet, and we saying that's why you can't. You got to be careful on this internet, chat. You got to be real careful. I've been saying this for about 6 months now. Now I've been saying it a lot during last week. We got to be real careful because this AI stuff, they're making it hard to distinguish real from fake. And they want it like that. So you got to pay attention to what YouTubers you watch. You got to pay attention to what content creators you're paying attention to. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go over here. Now we finna shift over and we finna listen to NVIDIA CEO talk about this stuff a little bit more further from a chip perspective. All right, Chad, appreciate y'all for joining me. Everybody that subscribed to the channel, well, we appreciate y'all. So here we go, Chad.
Hopefully everybody had a good day yesterday and are enjoying it today. It is my real pleasure to introduce Jensen Huang, who is somebody I admire, somebody I've watched, and somebody who has been a teacher to me on the journey of learning about technology and AI. It is amazing watching how he led NVIDIA. And I don't measure myself on comparisons, but I like this one comparison. So since NVIDIA has been public, which was in 1999, same year as BlackRock.
Oh boy.
Okay, now NVIDIA's total return for its shareholders has been a compounded 37%. Just think about that. What would that mean to every pension fund if they invested in NVIDIA as an IPO? The amount of successes we have with everybody's retirement. At the same time, BlackRock's annualized total return has been 21%. Not so bad for a financial services company, but it certainly pales. But that is just a really great indication of Jensen's leadership, the positioning of NVIDIA, and also it is a great statement about what the world believes in the future of NVIDIA. So Jensen, congratulations on that journey, and I know we have many more years of that journey ahead of us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My only regret was at the IPO, after the IPO, I wanted to buy my parents something nice. And so I sold NVIDIA stock at a valuation of $300 million. The company was at a valuation of $300 million, and I bought them a Mercedes S-Class. It is the most expensive car in the world. They regret it.
Do they still have it?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Good.
They still have it, yeah.
Good. Let me go into the subject matter now, but I just want to say, the debate on AI is about how it's going to change the world and the global economy. Today, I want to talk about how AI can add to the world economy and how AI can increasingly become a foundational technology that everyone in this room can be utilizing, enhancing our lives, enhancing the lives of everyone in the world. And we need to talk about how it's going to reshape productivity, labor, infrastructure across virtually every other sector. but importantly, how it's going to reshape the world, and how can more segments of the world benefit from AI, and how can we ensure that we have a broadening of the global economy, not a narrowing of the global economy. And I can't think of another person who has a clearer view on not just what AI is, but the infrastructure around it, the infrastructure that is necessary to build around it. And because so many of the major hyperscalers are utilizers of what NVIDIA creates, and the whole engagement around the infrastructure around AI, the potential of AI, I think we have a great voice to listen to this afternoon or this morning. So Jensen, once again, thank you. This is his first time here at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and I know you have a really busy schedule, so thank you for taking that time.
I appreciate that.
So let me go right into it. Why do you believe that AI has the potential to be that significant engine of growth? And what makes this moment, this technology, different than past technology cycles?
Yeah, this is, first of all, when you think about AI and you're interacting with AI in all these different ways, ChatGPT, of course, using Gemini, of course, using Anthropic, Claude, of course, and the magical things that it could do, it's helpful to reason back to the first principles of fundamentally what is happening to the computing stack. This is a platform shift. A platform is something where applications are built on top of. And this is a platform shift like the platform shift to PCs. New applications were developed to run on a new type of computer. A platform shift to the internet, a new type of computing platform, hosted all kinds of new applications, a platform shift to mobile cloud. In each and every one of these platform shifts, the computing stack was reinvented and new applications were created. This is a new platform shift in the sense that today you're using ChatGPT. It's important to understand that itself is an application, but very importantly, new applications will be built on top of ChatGPT. New applications will be built on top of Anthropic Claude, for example. And so it's a platform shift in that way. AI is really easy to understand if you realize what it can do that you could never do before. Software in the past was effectively pre-recorded. Humans would type and describe the algorithm or the recipe for the computer to execute. It was able to process structured information, meaning you've got to put the name, the address, their account number, their age, where they live. You create these structured tables that software would then go and retrieve information from. We call it SQL queries. SQL is the single most important database engine the world's ever known. Almost everything ran on SQL before now. Now we have a computer that can understand unstructured information, meaning it can look at an image and understand it. It could look at text and understand it. It's completely unstructured. It could listen to sound and understand it, understand the meaning of it, understand the structure of it, and reason about what to do about it. And so for the first time, we now have a computer that is not pre-recorded, but it's processed in real time, meaning that it's able to take the context of the circumstance, whatever the environmental information, the contextual information, and whatever information you give it, it could reason about what is the meaning of that information and reason about your intent, which could be described in a really unstructured way. You describe it however you want to describe it. We call it prompts, but you describe it however you like to describe it. And to the extent that it can understand your intention, it could perform a task for you. Now, the important thing about this is that because we're reinventing that entire computing stack, the question is, what is AI? You're asked, when you think about AI, you think about the AI models. But it's really important to understand industrially, AI is actually essentially a 5-layer cake. At the bottom is energy. AI, because it's processed in real time and it generates intelligence in real time, it needs energy to do so. Energy is the first layer. The second layer is the layer that I live in. It's chips. Chips and computing infrastructure. The next layer above it is the cloud infrastructure, the cloud services. The layer above that is the AI models. This is where most people think AI is. But don't forget that in order for those models to happen, you have to have all of the layers underneath it. But the most important layer, and this is the layer that's happening right now, the reason why last year was an incredible year, frankly, for AI, is that the AI models made so much progress that the layer above it, which is ultimately the layer that we all need to succeed, the application layer above that. And so this application layer could be in financial services, it could be in healthcare, it could be in manufacturing. This layer on top ultimately is where economic benefit will happen. But the important thing, though, because this computing platform requires all of the layers underneath it, it has started, and everybody's seeing it right now, it has started the largest infrastructure build out in human history. We're now a few $100 billion into it.
That's it.
We're a few $100 billion into it. Larry and I, we get the opportunity to work on many projects together. There are trillions of dollars of infrastructure that needs to be built out. And it's sensible. It's sensible because all of these contexts have to be processed so that the AI, so that the models can generate the intelligence necessary to power the applications that ultimately sit on top. And so when you go back and when you reason about it layer by layer by layer, and you realize that the energy sector is now seeing extraordinary growth. The chip sector, TSMC just announced they're going to build 20 new chip plants. Foxconn working with us and Wistron and Quanta building 30 new computer plants, which then go into these AI factories. So we have chip factories, computer factories, and AI factories all being built around the world.
And memory.
And memory, right, exactly. Those chip fabs. Micron has started investing $200 billion in the United States. SK Hynix is doing incredibly. Samsung is doing incredibly. You could see that entire chip layer growing incredibly today. And now, of course, we pay a lot of attention to the model layer, but it's really exciting that the layer above them is really doing fantastically. And now, one indicator is where the VC funding going into. Last year, 2025, was one of the largest years in VC funding ever. And last year, most of the funding went to what is called AI native companies. These are companies in healthcare, the company in robotics, and company in manufacturing, financial services, all of the large industries in the world. You're seeing huge investments going in to those AI natives because for the first time, the models are good enough to build on top of.
So let's just dive a little further. Obviously, everybody, I'm sure, uses their own chatbot and getting information. So, but you're talking about the dispersion of AI is going to be the key. Let's talk about it, like go into a little more upside ideas related to the dispersion of it in the physical world. You mentioned, obviously, healthcare is a great example of that. But where do you see the transformational opportunities in areas like transportation or science?
Well, last year, I would say last year, I would say three major things happened in AI, in the AI technology layer, the model layer. The first one is that the models themselves started out being curious and interesting, but they hallucinated a great deal. And last year, we can all reasonably accept that these models are better grounded. They could do research. They can reason about circumstances that maybe they weren't trained on, break it down into step-by-step reasoning steps, and come up with a plan to answer your question, do your research, or perform the task. So last year we saw the evolution of language models becoming AI systems that we call agentic systems, agentic AI. The second major breakthrough is the breakthrough of open models. Several years ago, was it a year ago? DeepSeek came out.
Last year.
And DeepSeek was, a lot of people were quite concerned about it. Frankly, DeepSeek was a huge event for most of the industries, most of the companies around the world, because it's the world's first open reasoning model. Since then, a whole bunch of open reasoning models have emerged, and open models has enabled companies and industries, researchers, educators, universities, startups to be able to use these open models to start something and create something that's domain specific or specialized for their needs. The third area that had enormous progress last year was the concept of physical intelligence, of physical AI. AI that understands not just language, but AI understands, if you will, nature. And it could be AI that understands the physical world here, AIs that understand proteins, chemicals, physics, for example, fluid dynamics, particle physics, quantum physics, AIs that are now learning all these different structures and different languages, if you will. Proteins is essentially a language. And so all of these AIs are now making such enormous progress that these industries, industrial companies, whether it's manufacturing or drug discovery, are really making great progress. And one of the great indicators is a partnership that we had with Lilly that they realize now that AI has made such extraordinary progress in understanding the structure of proteins and the structure of chemicals, essentially being able to interact and talk to the proteins like we talk to ChatGPT. We're going to see some really big breakthroughs.
So all these breakthroughs raises concerns about the human element. You and I have had many conversations on this, but we need to tell the whole audience there is a huge concern that AI is going to displace jobs. And you've been arguing the opposite. Obviously, the build-out of AI, as you talked about, the biggest infrastructure build-out in history is going to occur, which
energy is creating jobs.
Yeah.
Chips industry is creating jobs. The infrastructure layer is creating jobs. Land, power, and shell. Jobs. I mean, right? It's incredible.
So let's get into that in a little more detail. So you actually believe we're going to face labor shortages. And so how do you see that AI and robotics changing the nature of work rather than eliminating it?
Yeah, there's several different ways that we could think through it. First of all, this is the largest infrastructure build-out in human history. Yep. That's going to create a lot of jobs. And it's wonderful that the jobs are related to tradecraft. And we're going to have plumbers and electricians and construction and steel workers and network technicians and people who install and fit out the equipment. And all of these jobs, in the United States, we're seeing quite a significant boom in this area. Salaries have gone up, nearly doubled. Yeah. And so we're talking about six-figure salaries for people who are building chip factories or computer factories or AI factories. And we have a great shortage in that. And I'm really delighted to see so many people in so many countries really recognizing this important area. Everybody should be able to make a great living. You don't need to have a PhD in computer science to do so. And so I'm delighted to see that. The second thing to realize, and so we theorize about the automation of tasks and things like that, and what is the implication to jobs. I'll just offer some anecdotes. These are real-world anecdotes of what has actually happened. Remember, 10 years ago, one of the first professions that everybody thought was going to get wiped out was radiology. And the reason for that was the first AI that became superhuman in capability was computer vision. And one of the largest applications of computer vision is studying scans by radiologists. Well, 10 years later, it is true that AI has now completely permeated and diffused into every aspect of radiology. And it is true that radiologists use AI to study scans now. The impact is 100%, and the impact is completely real. However, not surprisingly, I say not surprisingly, if you reason from first principles, not surprisingly, the number of radiologists have gone up.
Is that because of lack of trust or is that because the human interaction with the with the results of AI
Exactly.
is a better outcome.
Exactly. The reason for that is because a radiologist, their job, the purpose of their job is to diagnose disease, to help patients diagnose disease. That's the purpose of their job. The task of the job includes studying scans. The fact that they're able to study scans now infinitely fast allows them to spend more time with patients, diagnosing their disease, interacting with the patients, interacting with other clinicians. Well, surprisingly, also not surprisingly actually, as a result of that, the number of patients that the hospital can see has gone up. Because, there are a lot of people waiting a long time to get their scans done. And so now, because the number of patients have gone up, the revenues of the hospital has gone up, they hire more radiologists. This is the same thing that's happening to nurses. We're 5 million nurses short in the United States. As a result of using AI to do the charting and the transcription of the patient visits, nurses spend half of their time charting.
Documenting.
And now they could use AI technology, and one particular company, Abridge, a partner of ours, doing incredible work. As a result of that, the nurses could spend more time visiting patients.
Human touch.
That's right. And because you could now see more patients, and we're no longer less bottlenecked by the number of nurses, more patients could get into the hospital sooner. As a result, hospitals do better, they hire more nurses. And so, surprisingly, AI is increasing their not surprisingly, AI is increasing their productivity. As a result, the hospitals are doing better. They want to hire more people. You have too many people waiting too long to get into hospitals. And so these are two perfect examples. Now, the easiest way to think about what is the impact of AI on a particular job is to understand whether the job, what is the purpose of the job, and what is the task of the job. If you just put a camera on the two of us and just watched us, you would probably think the two of us are typists because I spend all of my time typing. And so if AI could automate so much word prediction and help us type, then we would be out of jobs. But obviously that's not our purpose. And so the question is, what is the purpose of your job? In the case of radiologists and nurses, is to care for people. And that purpose is enhanced and made more productive because the task has automated. And so to the extent that you can reason about each one of the people's purpose versus the task, I think it's a helpful framework.
Let's move this beyond the developed economies. Help me understand how AI is to broaden the world and help the world. I read an Anthropic piece this past weekend that basically said the utilization of AI most recently is very dominant by the educated society. And they're even seeing the educated component of each society being heavily more utilized. I mean, they're using it against their own model Claude, so it may have its own biases. So how do we ensure that AI is a transformational technology, maybe like what Wi-Fi and 5G was for the emerging world? And when you intersect that, what does it mean for the emerging world? And John, how do we broaden the global economy? And two, getting back to the whole job situation with robotics and AI, there is going to be some substitution there. And there's substitution in the United States already going on. We may be creating more plumbers and electricians, but we probably need less analysts at financial institutions. Lawyers need less because they're able to accumulate the data faster. So let's just pivot on to the emerging world for a second, in the developing world. How do you see that play out?
Well, first of all, AI is infrastructure, and there's not one country in the world, I can't imagine, that you need to have AI as part of your infrastructure, because every country has its electricity, you have your roads, you should have AI as part of your infrastructure. Of course, you could always import AI, but AI is not so incredibly hard to train these days, and because there are so many open models, these open models with your local expertise, you should be able to create models that are helpful to your own country. And so I really believe that every country should get involved to build AI infrastructure build your own AI, take advantage of your fundamental natural resource, which is your language and culture, develop your AI, continue to refine it, and have your national intelligence be part of your ecosystem. And so I think that's number one. And number two, remember, AI is super easy to use. It's the easiest software to use in history, and that's the reason why it's the fastest growing and most rapidly adopted. I mean, in just a couple of 2-3 years, it's coming up to almost a billion people. I think, first of all, Claude is incredible. Anthropic has made a huge progress, huge leap in developing Claude. Yep. We use it all over our company. The coding capability of Claude, its reasoning capability, its ability is just really incredible. And anybody who has a software company really ought to get involved and use it. On the other hand, ChatGPT is probably the most successful consumer AI in history. And its ease of use and its approachability, I think everybody should get involved. And whether it's somebody in a developing country or a student, it is very clear that it is essential to learn how to use AI, how to direct an AI, how to prompt an AI, how to manage an AI, how to guardrail the AI, evaluate the AI. These skills are no different than leading people, managing people, things that you and I do all the time. So in the future, instead of biological, carbon-based AIs, in the future we're also going to have digital versions of AIs, silicon versions of AIs, and we'll have to manage them. They're just part of our digital workforce, if you will. And so I would advocate that for the developing countries, build your infrastructure, get engaged in AI, and recognize that AI is likely to close the technology divide.
Right.
Because it is so easy to use and so abundant and so accessible. And so, I'm actually fairly optimistic about the potential of AI to lift the countries that are emerging, and for many people who haven't had computer science degree, all of you can be programmers now, And so in the past we had to learn how to program a computer. Now you program a computer by saying to the computer, "How do I program you?" And if you don't know how to use an AI, just go up to the AI and say, "I don't know how to use an AI. How do I use an AI?" And it would explain it to you. And you say, I like to write a program to create my own website. How do I do that? And it would ask you a whole bunch of questions about what kind of website you would like to build, and then write you the code. And so it is that easy to use, and that's, of course, the incredible power of AI, which is exciting.
2 quick questions, then we're going to run out of time. We're sitting here in Europe. When we were talking about a lot of companies, we mentioned a lot of U.S. companies and Asian companies. Talk to us about how AI and the success of Europe and the future of Europe can intersect, and how do you see NVIDIA play that role here in Europe?
Well, I have the benefit. NVIDIA has the benefit of working with every AI company in the world, and because we're low in the infrastructure layer, and we power AI across the board. And we power AI that are languages, their biology, their physics, their world models, and related to manufacturing and robotics. And the thing that's really, really quite exciting for Europe is, remember, your industrial base is so strong. The industrial manufacturing base in Europe is incredibly strong. This is your opportunity to now leap past the era of software. The United States really led the era of software. AI is software that doesn't need to write software. You don't write AI, you teach AI. And so get in early now so that you can now fuse your industrial capability, your manufacturing capability with artificial intelligence, and that brings you into the world of physical AI or robotics. Robotics is a once in a generation opportunity for the European nations. And whether it's, all of the countries that I visit here, industrial base is really, really strong. The other thing to realize is that so much of the deep sciences are still very, very strong here in Europe.
Right.
And the deep sciences now have the benefit of applying artificial intelligence to accelerate your discovery. And so I think that it's fairly certain that you have to get serious about increasing your energy supply so that you could invest in the infrastructure layer so that you could have a rich ecosystem of artificial intelligence here in Europe.
So what I'm hearing is we're far from an AI bubble. The question is, are we investing enough? Let's turn it around, because there's so many people talking about a bubble, but the question is, what I'm hearing from you is, are we investing enough to do what we need to do to broaden the global economy?
And so one good test on the AI bubble is to recognize that NVIDIA has now millions of NVIDIA GPUs in the cloud. We're in every cloud, we're used everywhere. And if you try to rent an NVIDIA GPU these days, it's so incredibly hard. And the spot price of GPU rentals is going up. Not just the latest generation, but 2-generation-old GPUs. The spot price of rentals are going up. And the reason for that is because the number of AI companies that are being created, the number of companies shifting their R&D budget, Lilly is a great example. 3 years ago, most of their R&D budget, all of their R&D budget, was probably wet labs. Notice the big AI supercomputer that they've invested in, the big AI lab, increasingly that R&D budget is going to shift towards AI. And so the AI bubble comes about because the investments are large. And the investments are large because we have to build the infrastructure necessary for all of the layers of AI above it. And so I think the opportunity is really quite extraordinary. And everybody ought to get involved. Everybody ought to get engaged. We need more energy. I think that we all recognize that. We need more land power and shell. We need more trade skill workers. And in fact, that population of workforce is so strong here in Europe.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, the United States lost that in the last 20, 30 years. Yeah. But it's still incredibly strong here in Europe. It's an extraordinary opportunity. Larry, and the investment scale is going up. The number of startups, as I mentioned earlier, that 2025, the largest investment year in VC history, over $100 billion around the world. Most of it was AI natives. And so these AI companies are building basically the application layer above. And they're going to need infrastructure. They're going to need our investment, and go build this future.
And I actually believe it's going to be a great investment for pension funds around the world to be a part of that, to grow with this AI world. And this is one of my messages as so many political leaders. We need to make sure that the average pensioner, the average saver, is a part of that growth. If they're just watching it from the sidelines, they're going to feel left out.
And we want to invest in infrastructure.
Right.
Infrastructure is a great investment opportunity. This is the single largest infrastructure build-out in human history.
Yep.
Get involved.
We're out of time. Hopefully everybody in the audience and everybody on the web streaming is seeing the power of Jensen Huang as a leader, not just a leader in technology and AI, but a leader in business, and also a leader in heart and soul, which is really important today, having that leadership from the heart and the soul. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Wow, chat. That there was amazing. A great hour and 20 minutes of pure good information. Well, we found out that these humanoid robots are just about ready to go on the market. What do you mean, Stock Sniper? If you just not joining, Elon Musk just told us that those humanoid robots will be ready to go and on the market to be sold by next year. Humanoid robots are robots that actually look like humans, aka Terminator. But the thing is about these robots, they're going to be able to do anything that you wanted to do. Cook, clean, babysit. Even if you got elderly parents, you know, like instead of you putting them in a nursing home and spending all that money, all you gotta do is buy you one of them humanoid robots, and they'll be to watch your elderly parents. That those humanoid robots will be able to do anything you wanted to do. That's wild. That's wild. And man, Elon Musk introduced us to those robots, I think it's close to a year and a half ago. During the first introduction of those robots, all they could do it then was serve food and serve drinks. A year and a half then passed, and now they're saying that those humanoid robots are going to be ready to hit the market by the end of next year. It's a lot going on, chat. And guess what? AI is developing real fast. He also said by the end of next year, those robots are going to be smarter than the smartest human. And by the end of 2030, right around 2030 or 2031, those humanoid robots are going to be smarter than all humanity put together. That's what Elon Musk said. Hey, what's up, Mary? How you doing? Appreciate you for joining. They will work at McDonald's. They already doing that now. They're already in McDonald's. You know, when you go into McDonald's and you can either go order at the machine or you can order from a person at the cashier. So that's a robot. When you don't go to the person and go to that little that thing, that's actually a robot. But eventually, they're going to be humanoids doing that, and they are pushing that out right now. They already got them ready to rock. If you watched earlier when Elon Musk was talking, they already have those robots in factories right now being tested. And he said that they will be ready by the end of next year. They're going to start selling them. Now, I don't know what the price going to be, but when Elon Musk first told us about these robots and showed us the robots, that was about a year and a half ago. Then he said the robots are like 20,000, 30,000 per robot. And you could tell the robot to do whatever you want it to do. I don't know if anybody's seen that. When they rolled out Robo-Taxi, they showed us Robo-Taxi. They showed us not only Robo-Taxi, but Robo-Sprinters. And then they showed us these robots. And all the robots could do then was like a bartender or serve food. But you know, man, a year and a half done passed and AI has advanced. Shout out to NVIDIA. Yeah, shout out to NVIDIA. Shout out to all the NVIDIA investors. If you, particularly if you bought NVIDIA during Liberation Day, shout out to everybody that understand AI and understand what's happening right now. Shout out to everybody, man, that's been investing in these great companies. So I think I'm gonna end it right there, chat. If you already understand what's going on, share the video. You know, a lot of people gotta know and understand what's going on. Another thing we gotta understand, chat, a lot of criminals and a lot of crooks are gonna use AI to scam. So you gotta make sure you're paying attention. You know, it's 2026. You know, some people still live like it's 1980 and 1990. Some people live like it's still 2000. It's 2026. You got to be very careful on this internet. We got to understand that, guys. Even though we're looking at the development of AI And if you're a business owner or if you're in a business, you can use the AI to automate your business, to make things go faster while you're doing something else. You also got to understand that these criminals are going to be using it too. So you got to make sure you're very, very, very aware and very, very educated, and you're on top of your game when it comes to all this stuff. So I'm going to end it right here, guys. I love and I appreciate everybody for rocking with me. I love and I appreciate everybody that's been subscribing to the channel, everybody that's been hitting the like button, everybody that's been commenting in the comment section. Whoa, 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 hold up. We got somebody that supported the show. High five. Mike Powers is a sponsor of the show. Mike Powers, 1196. You are officially a sponsor of the show. Appreciate the gift. Appreciate the gift. Appreciate the gift. You are such an amazing person. And may God bless you and your family. So, chat, I appreciate everybody for coming through. I appreciate everybody for coming and rocking with me. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because that's what we do over here on this channel. We try to, because I can't keep secrets, chat. So whenever I find out something, I'm going to bring it to the people, because it's we the people, it's we the people. And over here on this channel, you got the freedom of speech. You got the freedom of speech. That's why America is one of the best countries that you can live in, because you got the freedom of speech. You got the freedom to express yourself. You got the freedom to express your thoughts. And over here on Stock Sniper TV, you ain't got to worry about the streamer. You ain't got to worry about the host blocking you because you don't agree with them. You ain't got to worry about over here on Stock Sniper TV. You can be who you are. So with that being said, chat, I love and I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all are safe during this winter storm. I hope you are safe. So with that being said, earn, spend less, and make proper investments. Teach it to your kids and grandkids. Teach it to the people in your circle. Then teach it to the world. And yes, NVIDIA and AI and all these robotic companies are great investments. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. To the next one, I'm out. I love y'all, chat.